Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People's Show. Checking the Pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by XCancer. Check them out at xcancer.com. Today's show is going to be about Nebraska's next coaching staff, primarily focusing on the guys that are currently on staff. Now, at the end of the show, I'm going to talk about some of the new additions real quickly, some of the rumors that are going on about potential new additions at the end of the show. But who are the guys who should be retained? Now, I've been a part of teams where guys have been fired. Like, you got to keep in mind, these are not just names and faces on a video game. These are men with wives and families and trying to put food on their table and everything they've ever worked for. I have the utmost respect for what they do for a living, how hard it is. Also, I will say this, they are fully well aware that getting hired and fired is a part of being a coach. It's a part of the coaching business, coaching profession. Okay, so you got to take feelings and emotions out of this. As hard, as difficult, or as easy for some people as that might be. All right, let's move on, shall we? Now, the two guys we know at this point in time, at the time I'm recording this video, that have definitely been let go are strength and conditioning coach Zach Duvall and nutritionist Dave Ellis. Now, I'm just going to go down the line of the current coaches as we have and as I see them. Mickey Joseph, right off the top, this is the guy that we need to retain. We need to do everything possible to retain Mickey Joseph. In fact, do me a favor, okay? And not just Mickey, but Bill Bush, okay? Smash that like button, okay, in support of keeping Mickey Joseph and Bill Bush. Now, I will just readily tell you that right off the top, the odds of many of these guys keeping their jobs is not great. Because what happens is when a new coaching staff comes in, that coach wants to bring his guys in. So the odds of some of these guys and a lot of these guys being brought back isn't phenomenal, but Matt Rhule has said he wants to meet with them. He wants to show them the respect of talking to them face to face, and I think giving them a legit chance as well. All right, so Mickey Joseph, the guy can recruit, the guy's respected, the guy's popular. There's a lot of players in that locker room that love him. He stepped in at an insanely tumultuous time for Nebraska football, stepped up and did a great job. I don't know where you could have asked for him for the dumpster fire in the short time, the period, and what he was asked to do and what he had to work with as far as everything going on as the interim head coach. A lot of positives. Now, I don't know that anybody's brought up the one concern that I have. There is one concern. Hey, nothing's ever foolproof, right? It's never a guaranteed slam dunk. The one potential concern, it's just potential, that I could see if Mickey is brought back, is there maybe potential for a little division in the locker room? Like, hey, this is our new coach, but that was our coach. That's who I committed for. That's who I came. I don't know that would happen. But you can't deny that the potential is there. Now, let me be very, very clear. I just felt like I should point it out. I don't know that anybody else has. Okay, but you got to try to bring Mickey back. Okay, regardless of any potential concerns, including the one I just pointed out, you got to do your best to try to bring Mickey Joseph back. Now, all right, going on down the list. Mark Whipple. I'm just going to be honest with you. I got a text from a guy a couple of days ago before Matt Rhule's press conference, and it said, hey, buddy, I'm on the flight to Phoenix. Mark Whipple's on the same flight as me. Isn't Rhule's press conference tomorrow? I think that tells you all you need to know about Mark Whipple seeing the writing on the wall. All right, next up, all right, Bill Bush. Now, this is a guy, and it didn't dawn on me until about 2 days ago. Our special teams was awful. A couple of years ago, and for the past few years. This past year, it was definitely not a weakness of the team. Okay, he turned around our special teams unit. And then, hey, 4 games in, hey, Bill, would you mind trying to fix the defense as well? Now, I don't know that he fixed it, but it was definitely better once he took over. The guy essentially addressed 2/3 of the major areas of our football team and vastly improved them. Okay, especially special teams, vastly improved. I wouldn't say improved on defense. I mean, the 3 of the last 4 games, the opponents didn't even score in the first half against our defense. Okay, so to me, he's also a really good recruiter. He's a guy who's been in and out of Nebraska, grown up in Nebraska, small town Nebraska, much of his life, much of his coaching career. I think it would be huge to try to bring Coach Bill Bush back. Now you got, next on the list is Mike Dawson, defensive line edge rushers coach. He probably will not be retained. I know we have a new D-line coach. I'll get to that again towards the end of the video. Donovan Raiola, the offensive line coach. Now, I want to be very clear. Put yourselves in my shoes, okay, for a moment. So I get to do this show. I get to go to practices. I get to see a lot of these guys face to face. These guys are aware of what's on the internet. So a lot of times when I talk about somebody, I mean, they've seen it, and then I interact with them. It doesn't bother me because I get it's business. I think some of these guys take it personal. You know, if I say something good about what they do as far as their coaching job, it doesn't mean you're a better or worse person. If I don't think you're doing great at your coaching job, I don't think you're a worse or better person. I'm simply talking about the job that they're doing. So even if you're a player, It can be challenging sometimes sitting in this chair, but let's light this candle. If you're a coach, if you're a player, if you're whoever, okay, and I bring your name up on this show, whether it's one shape or form or another, it's never personal. I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm saying positive things, don't let it go to your head. Keep doing it. If for some reason I'm like, hey, he needs to do better at this or that, my advice would be don't take it personal. Just get better at your job. Okay? And I bring this up because a guy like Donovan Rhule is my guy. Greg Austin was my guy. After he got fired here, he unfollowed me on Twitter. I mean, that wasn't fun to see. That was a guy I spent a lot of time with. It is what it is. I'm going to do my job. Okay? And it's not easy for me sometimes. I love this. But it's not always easy for me when I get to talk about people that I like or dislike or I see on a regular basis. Donovan Rhule is my guy. When my family and I went to the walkthrough, he talked to us probably as much or more than anybody else not named Mickey Joseph or Trev Alberts. Okay? Eric Chinander, another guy. I'm a big fan of him as a human being. But Eric Chinander didn't get the job done. Donovan Rhule is an offensive line coach. It's his first time being a full-time offensive line coach. Did not get the job done. Okay? I just thought I'd throw those things out there so everyone's aware. Next up, Travis Fisher, defensive backs coach. Good coach. The odds are he's probably gone, especially since there's already been another DB's coach named. You got Brian Applewhite, the running backs coach, another good coach, probably will not be retained. Okay, a couple of young guys who stepped up in the interim positions this year. Okay, Mike Cassano, interim wide receivers. Joey Connors, interim special teams coordinator. These are good young coaches with bright futures. Maybe they're brought back. It's probably unlikely, though. Okay, Sean Beckton. Now, he's an interesting guy in the fact that he's the only offensive coach still here from day one from that UCF staff, including Scott Frost. Everybody else is gone. He's the only offensive coach that's still here. Now, you could make a real argument he should stay. You could. But realistically, the odds are against it. You never know. But there are three coaches. I've already talked about two of them that you can make another legit argument that they should stay. I've talked about Coach Joseph, Coach Bush. The other one I'm going to talk about is Barrett Ruud. Okay? And I would rank Joseph as the most prominent guy we need to bring back, Bush number 2. And if you wanted to include a third, you don't have to, it could potentially be Barrett Ruud. I know he's coached linebackers. For a lot of his time, it was inside linebackers. Now he's got a family legacy that carries throughout the state, and it carries in the college football world as far as recruiting, but especially in the state of Nebraska. Okay, and our linebacker play, especially the inside linebackers, when we were 3-4, especially a season ago or 2 seasons ago, at this point, that was some of the best defensive players that we've had recently. Okay, I know Garrett Nelson's kind of an edge rusher. Also, shout out to Luke Reimer and Quentin Newsom for being honorable mention All Big Ten. Shout out to those guys. And Garrett Nelson for being second team All Big Ten as well. Also, a couple of our captains this year were linebacker/inside linebacker types as well. So for me, those are the guys I think about bringing back. Mickey, Bill, okay, Mickey at the top of the list. And if you wanted to throw a third in there, Barrett, you could make a case for Sean Beckton. But I've kind of already said how this works. New guys tend to bring in their guys, and that's how Matt Rhule's probably going to approach it. Now, here's some of the guys we have hired. Okay, our new offensive coordinator, Marcus Satterfield. Okay, his team beat Tennessee, dropped over 60 points on the Volunteers when they were a top 5 team in the country. Okay, number 8, Clemson. Okay, they beat Clemson on the road 31-30. Clemson hadn't lost a home game in about 30 home games. Okay, during those 2 games, they dropped 94 points his South Carolina offense, was against Tennessee and against Clemson, but his South Carolina offense, that's where he was the OC at, dropped 94 points and 1,020 yards. Okay, now prior to that, there were some South Carolina fans who were I heard they weren't as happy with him leading up to that. This ain't going to be all fluff. I'm going to give you everything. Okay, you can draw your own conclusions. But those last couple of games, they started to put some things together. All right, defensive backs coach Evan Cooper, who's also been a recruiting coordinator in the past, so he brings that to the table as well. He was with Rhule at Temple and Baylor and Carolina Panthers for 3 seasons. Terrence Knighton is a new defensive line coach. He spent 8 years in the NFL. He was a 3rd-round pick. He was the defensive line coach at Wagner a couple of years ago, assistant D-line coach a year ago with the Carolina Panthers. All right, and Corey Campbell, this dude yoked, ladies and gentlemen. Ba-bam! He's more yoked than me now. All right, is to be the strength and conditioning coach. He was an assistant strength and conditioning coach at both Baylor and the Carolina Panthers under Rhule as well. Now, I'm not sure if this is confirmed yet, but it sounds like Ed Foley, who has coached with Rhule at Baylor, Temple, and the Carolina Panthers, he has coached tight ends, offensive line, and special teams, is expected to join the staff. And there's other rumors out there as well, potential defensive coordinators, other coaches. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Okay, as the whole coaching staff comes together, once it's all done, I'm going to be And once it's finalized, I'm going to be doing more and more shows in the future, more in depth on these guys. Now, here's what I want to know. Comment below and let me know on a scale of 1 to 10. I did this on my Carriker Live, but I want to do it here. Scale 1 to 10, how important is it to bring Mickey Joseph back? Also, scale 1 to 10, how important is it to bring Bill Bush back? Let me know in the comments below. Also, just simply say yes or no. If it doesn't work out with Mickey and or Bill, will Nebraska football press onward and upwards? Go Big Red. Always remember the Browns. This show is brought to you by XCancer. Join the fight at XCancerStore.com and support your loved ones, your neighbors, and cancer fighters all over the world and help them gain access to revolutionary treatments. XCancerStore.com has a wide variety of t-shirts and merchandise supporting a wide variety of cancer battles so you can show off the colors that matter. Proceeds from each purchase not only help those at home, but also cancer fighters in Tanzania, Africa. Check them out at XCancerStore.com.